Jennifer McCreath. I just recorded a video for the very first time in a long time. I forgot to say the date. It's usually the way I start all my videos. Hi, it's Jennifer McCreath. Today is November 28th, 2013, 10:48 p.m. Sitting in my living room in St. John's, Newfoundland. I just did a video about an amazing trans panel discussion which I indirectly participated in on CBC radio. At first I questioned why I was not invited. Then I realized that the scope and the theme was, well, let's get other trans people out here, and I think that's great. I shouldn't have to do all the talking, and I'm glad CBC and John Furlong, there's that name again. Whenever there's a trans story on CBC, it's either John Furlong or Anthony Germain. Love both of those guys. Thank you so much for all your coverage. For the first time ever, Transgender Day of Remembrance occurred in 7, not 1, not 2, but 7, I believe, cities here in towns, Provincial, Newfoundland, Labrador. A group of folks who have called themselves some sort of a coalition, who I'll be happy to mention, members from the St. John's Pride Incorporated Board of Directors, the Memorial University Students' Union, Planned Parenthood Newfoundland, and a group known as the Trans Needs Committee of Memorial University collaborated on a series of trans awareness events to commemorate Transgender Day of Awareness, or Transgender Day of Remembrance. And they did it now I didn't get to all the events. Some of them weren't even open to the public, but the one I did get to was a very good educational event, and it was well attended by people. The people in the audience, the allies, were there to learn, there to listen, there to learn, and figure out how they can help. And thank you and congratulations to all of you. On the other hand, when I realized that I wasn't going to be needed in terms of playing a lead in that event, I decided to take the advantage of a little road trip to do trans education and awareness, as well as pay homage to trans murder victims by organizing events in Arnold's Cove, Clarenville, Gander, Grand Falls, Windsor, and Springdale. Made for a very long day, 13 hours of highway driving. But these events happened in small towns. Turnouts were fairly small, but that was to be expected. Again, it's quality over quantity. We had important people come to these events. Parents of trans kids. 10-year-old trans kid himself, or herself. We never did clarify. We'll get into that a little later, but CBC Radio showed up to 2 of the events. The newspaper, big front page article on the event. Springdale, the town, rolled the red carpet out for us, gave us their community hall. And it was in a little town where just was considered the Bible Belt of Newfoundland. Just 2 weeks ago, our government proclaimed trans human rights. And this Pentecostal minister, pastor guy just went off. He wrote this article to the local paper there in the Nor'wester talking about how we're disobeying God's orders and how horrible all this trans stuff is. Well, guess what? The community doesn't actually think the same way as their pastor. They were out there with friendly open arms, giving handshakes and hugs, very interested and curious to learn about the lives of trans men and trans women and what it was like to be someone dating a trans person. I had a trans partner in the room as well. Unbelievable discussion. Walked away from that town knowing that I had a 4th person at that meeting with me as well. We made a major impact on the little town of Springdale, Newfoundland. Springdale, Newfoundland, we will be back. And Grand Falls, Windsor, probably the most hyped event. Thank you, Andrea, the newspaper reporter who did some extra work to make sure people were aware that I was coming. We had 15 people out on the street in the cold, lighting up candles in the wind, and paying commemoration to dead trans people, and also building a new support network for trans people in central Newfoundland. Grand Falls, Windsor is a small town. And there are LGBT people there, one of whom was 10 years old, who put, I'm going to say her hand up. I believe this was a male to female. It may not have been. Hi, Jennifer. I'm 10 years old. I'm getting bullied at school. What do you think I should do? The parent was there looking on, 100% supportive, but also kind of looking for some help as well. That's enough to make me say I'm going back to Grand Falls, Windsor. Now I know we've got gay and lesbians going into the school board. EGAL Canada, $90,000. You go in and talk to whoever you talk to. Well, the message isn't getting through, at least the trans message. So I am going back. I will be meeting with principals, city councilor politicians, guidance teachers, and other community leaders. And I will not stop until I've met with each and every one of them and make sure that they've all met a trans woman and a trans man and a trans partner and a trans kid. Pastor, you might want to hate me. That's fine. A lot of people hate me. But how the hell are you going to hate a 10-year-old kid for crying out loud? And the world is finally realizing that, no disrespect to you religious folks, but you need to change your attitude. Your very own Bible says you need to be loving of people and non-judgmental of people. Let God and Jesus Christ be the ones who judge. And you know what? I'm happy with that. I've read that book, and I'm fair. Is there really a God? Is there really a heaven? Is there really a Jesus Christ? If and when my time comes to die, I'll be quite happy to look them in the eye and say, I did a darn good job when I was living on this planet. I worked my butt off, I put up with a lot of crap, and I left this planet a better place than the day I entered it. I hope everyone else out there watching can look themselves in the eye and say that too. Gander, coming back to meet the whole city council. Clarenville, you didn't show up. It was 7:30 in the morning, I get that. It was probably a little early. Arnold's Cove, of course, no one even knew we did that one. It was kind of a surprise last-minute thing. But I love that town. It's so beautiful. Newfoundland tourists, don't just go to the Avalon. Go to Arnold's Cove and see it. It's a beautiful, it's out. Go to Bonavista. Take the drive from St. John's to Bonavista. Stop in Arnold's Cove for about an hour. It's beautiful. I hope there's going to be an opportunity to go and actually meet the mayor of Arnold's Cove, and it's got a special place in my heart. The first time I moved to Newfoundland, I drove to Newfoundland in a moving van, and I pulled off the highway to get gas in Arnold's Cove, and it was probably the most beautiful Newfoundland community I'd ever seen. Anyway, enough of Arnold's Cove. Other cities. I'm looking at putting together a tour, not for Transgender Day of Remembrance, but more of a trans awareness piece. I'm looking at hitting 40 towns all over the province. Maybe even get up to Labrador. And this is a big venture. This is a big project. Funding this thing's going to be a challenge. I don't have money. I can put a car rental on a one-day trip, car rental and gas, $300, doable. I'm looking at the $3,000 to $5,000 range of travel and gas and food. I'm hoping to find some partners that want to go in on this. I'm also hoping I can find trans people. Hopefully some of the people that went on the trip with me last week, so that we can go and do this, because it needs to happen. The rest of the world needs to be, at least the rest of the province, needs to be introduced to trans people of all shapes and colors. So yeah, very successful trip, very happy trip. There will be another one, and I'm looking forward to it. So that's that report. I'm Jennifer McCreath. Thanks for watching.